Hi everyone, my name is Jill Willis and welcome to the Refurbisher Live Lounge. If you're interested in growing your refurbisher business like a pro, this episode is for you. We go over the role of legit Windows digital license keys in building reputation and winning more business. We explore Smart's Windows license injection tool, as well as the best way to manage and inject legit Windows digital license keys into PCs and laptops, and how you, as a tech refurbisher, can gain competitive advantage. Joining me today, Customer Success Manager at Smart, Ben Daniels. Ben is focused on finding new ways for refurbishers to achieve more. So enjoy. So the global refurbished tech market is estimated to reach about 25 billion by 2030. With this comes much more competition, and refurbishers, we're hearing, are finding it more difficult to differentiate themselves and really stand out. In your view, what would be the starting point for a refurbisher that really wants to differentiate themselves?
Yeah, I think it's all about what can you do to elevate the value of your device, make it stand out. One of the easiest things you can do, and if you start right at the end of the process, and the last thing you would probably do to a refurbished device, is load the software on. You load your Windows operating system, and you've got to legitimize that, right? So the easiest way it would actually be to become a third-party refurbisher under the Microsoft Authorized Refurbisher program.
So for a refurbisher at the moment, they might be, putting a skim on a laptop. That's the aesthetics. But would you say they're not necessarily considering that software then? They're not considering how they can complete the package? Yeah,
I guess it's all about what Microsoft call the out-of-box experience, right? When you open that laptop, what is the experience that your end customer gets? You know, if they're being presented with a device where after they've gone through the setup process, the webcam doesn't work, or Windows isn't activated, or they're leaving themselves open to security issues, then that we need to legitimize the licensing process.
And I suppose the end result for the refurbisher's customer then, for the person buying the refurb tech, is that they're not going to need to send that device back.
Yeah, reducing returns is obviously a huge part of saving cost, right? The last thing that you want to do is the device lands on your customer's doorstep and they open it up, something's wrong with it, whether it's physical or software, and they've now got to return it. You've got to get a courier out to pick that device up. You've got to bring it back.
What are they currently doing, and where are the pitfalls for them?
Very good question. I think typically a lot of people just assume that they can load Windows onto the machine. It will automatically activate using a key from somewhere. Reality is that it's not the legit and right way to do it. There's all of this stuff around second-hand software, the grey market. You know, there's people selling dodgy keys on websites which shouldn't be selling them. And the likelihood is that if you have ever sold a laptop, for example, as an end user of a device on Facebook Marketplace, for example, you have the rights to just erase that device and sell it on with the software. But as a refurbisher, you need to be seen to be doing the right thing and selling that device with Windows that has the proper operating system that you have been licensed to install and activate.
So if you're a refurbisher right now and you've been trying to do that's been your approach, what did that look like up until now? Was it a fairly clunky process?
Yeah, I think, if we go way back to maybe 10 years ago, I don't know if you remember, there was the stickers that used to be on the bottom of every laptop or on every desktop device. And it had like a code that you would type in to activate Windows. And typically that traveled with the device. So if the device got erased or anything, a problem with activation, then they would type in that code and it would reactivate the machine. Then around 2017, 2018, Microsoft was like, well, we don't really want to be putting stickers and paper on every single device. And we're going to activate these devices digitally. So then that meant that for the OEMs and the refurbishers, they had to deploy a server to their premises to manage the pulling the key down and actually the injection process of that key, but also sending reports back to Microsoft to say, this is the key that we've used on this device. Can you activate that machine? The clunkiness around it was all how you had to set up a server. You had to be onboarded into some of the Microsoft platforms, what they call the Digital Operations Center. And then there was the buying process of the keys. It could take a lot of time. It was quite clunky. And if you didn't know what you were doing, it was very easy to get it wrong and waste a lot of money on keys that you didn't mean to inject.
So I suppose there's a challenge there then, isn't there, that many refurbishers may have just avoided that route altogether.
For sure.
So Smart is kind of reinventing that process entirely, transforming it. Can you talk to me about the simplicity of the Smart approach instead of that old way?
Yeah, I think, looking at the process now for Smart, the way I always talk about it is it's like, you've heard of software as a service, right? SaaS. I always call it MAS, which is middleware as a service. So we kind of sit as a layer between Microsoft and the Refurbisher. And what we're trying to do is basically take some of the complicated processes from Microsoft and make it better for the end user that's injecting the key, for the refurbisher that's injecting the key.
And in your role as customer success manager, you're obviously, I guess, dealing with refurbishers small and large globally. What are the biggest challenges that you find they're facing, and how are they most pleased with the approach Smart's giving them?
Again, Smart is, in my eyes, the best way to automate some of the services that you need to provide, right? Installing the drivers, imaging the device, actually installing Windows, injecting the correct key. And before it was, if we look at, let's take Windows Media Creation Tool, which is where you would download Windows from the web, put it on a USB key, plug it into the laptop that you want to refurb, it installs Windows, whatever. Now, we've got to a point with Smart where you would plug it in, you boot to it, you select what version of Windows you want, you can go off, you can enjoy your day, you can do other things to make money. You come back to that device half an hour later, it's got Windows on it, it's got all the drivers on it, it's got a key injected on it, and you can even have it shut down ready for you to go. And we're making all of that data as well accessible in a portal that we've built. This
growth of the market has really come from, I think, consumers becoming way more comfortable with purchasing refurbished devices. But with that comes, they're becoming more savvy too. And I think that they're obviously looking for certain indicators. What's the stamp of approval that you find consumers are really looking for?
Well, the easiest one is if you're buying from a company, you want to look for either the Microsoft Authorized Refurbisher logo, maybe on their website, or maybe they're talking about being part of the program, whether that be a MAR or a TPR, a third-party refurbisher. The other one, and the really obvious one, is actually on the device. If they've got pictures of it on the marketplaces on their own website, is do they have the holographic sticker, which is known in the industry as a GMRL, which stands for Genuine Microsoft Refurbisher Label. And it's a small holographic sticker with the Microsoft logo. It says Authorized Refurbished Device. And that's really the key indicator, is that that company, that refurbisher, is being held to a standard.
So you've mentioned, and I think, we've all heard of the Microsoft Authorized Refurbisher program. And I think for many refurbishers, perhaps they felt it's a bit inaccessible to them. Can you talk through the steps of becoming authorized?
The Microsoft Authorized Refurbisher program criteria right now, anyway, from Microsoft, if you were to reach out to them as a refurbisher and say, I want to join the program, you speak directly to Microsoft, they would probably refer you to another MAR to begin with, because they want you to have a great relationship through that channel. And the second one is, obviously, they're going to ask you for quantities. They probably won't work with you if you're doing anything less than 20,000 licenses or devices a year. So the easiest way for you to become part of the program is to become a third-party refurbisher, which is where you work with a MAR, and that's what Smart is. Smart is a MAR, to buy licenses to install Windows. The reality is, however, is that actually I would argue it's way easier to be a TPR through our program anyway than it is to be a MAR in your own right. I think there's a couple of questions around, do you prefer working directly with Microsoft? Of course, that would be nice. The thing is that through Smart, you would get everything that you would do by becoming a MAR. If you're reaching a certain threshold, which is, between 5 and 20,000 licenses, you can show the official Microsoft Authorized Refurbisher logo. If you're doing less than that, we can give you a certificate that says you're recognized as a third-party refurbisher that you can proudly show and put on display, whether it be in your shop, online, your website, LinkedIn, Facebook, all of those social.
You can actually become a third-party refurbisher very rapidly. Is that right?
Yeah, so normally the onboarding process, if you're not using Smart anyway, would be you'd reach out to a MAR, they would make you fill out some forms, they'd have to onboard you into a Microsoft tenant. And now typically with Smart, because all of that's automated behind the scenes, really what we care about is you, your company name, filling out a couple of details, then we do all of that in the background within 30 seconds, and you've got a portal that's ready to go, ready for you to buy keys, and off you go.
So it sounds to me like those refurbishers who are using this process, making sure they've got legit Microsoft license keys on their devices, they're really ahead of the curve.
Yep, they're ahead of the curve. They will stand out on all of these marketplaces. They've got stuff to shout about on their socials.
As we wrap up today's Refurbisher Live Lounge, we'd love to hear from you. What do you think are the most important aspects of the refurbishment process for your business? Is it compliance, reducing costs and return rates, or something else? Hit subscribe and let us know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.